She was just trying to make it home before midnight, her green eyes focused on the empty road. The highway was silent, with nothing but trees and shadows stretching for miles. Her heart dropped as the fuel warning light blinked. She hadn't seen another station for 30 miles. A single gas station appeared in the distance, dimly lit and forgotten by time. She pulled in and noticed not a single other car in sight, not even an attendant. Something about the place made her stomach twist, but she pushed the feeling down. The buzzing lights overhead flickered as if they were struggling to stay alive. The store looked abandoned, yet the sign in the window blinked open in faded red. She stepped closer and saw her own reflection staring back, warped by the dirty glass. Inside, the air was thick and stale. There was no sign of life behind the counter. A security camera tracked her as she moved, but the hum it made seemed almost alive. The flickering light above aisle 3 buzzed louder the deeper she walked in. A pair of eyes suddenly appeared in the gap of a storage room door, then vanished. Her instincts screamed to leave, and she turned just as something moved behind her. Her phone had no bars, just the hollow comfort of a screen and the word "no service." She walked fast, trying not to break into a run. Her heartbeat pounded in her ears. She wasn't alone. A figure stood at the edge of the building, still as stone. The sound of heavy boots crunching gravel sent a spike of terror through her chest. Her hands shook as she tried to unlock the car. The key slipped from her fingers. A hand clamped over her mouth. She kicked and screamed, but no one was around to hear. She was thrown into the back of a van. The last thing she saw was the sky vanishing. The van smelled of gasoline and blood. She couldn't see anything but red. Through a tiny hole in the metal, she saw trees rushing past in the night. Her eyes burned with tears, duct tape muffling every scream. The van stopped in front of a shack that looked like it hadn't seen sunlight in years. He dragged her across the floor, through a doorway that smelled like rot and oil. She was thrown into a cage made of old rusted steel. Something had lived here before. On the wall hung dozens of Polaroids. Every woman looked terrified, just like her. A notebook on the table had tally marks scratched into every page. So many. He sat under a light bulb, slowly dragging a blade across a whetstone. She whispered her name over and over, trying to stay tethered to something real. When he left, the door clicked behind him, but it didn't fully close. A bent nail stuck out from the wood. She stretched her arm, every muscle screaming. Her palm tore open as she yanked the nail out. She jammed the nail into the lock, heart pounding like a war drum. It clicked. The sound of it nearly made her sob out loud. She crept barefoot past a couch soaked with something dark, careful not to breathe. She opened a drawer, knives, tape, a key. Her fingers closed around the cold metal. She slipped out into the forest, her breath clouding the cold air. A beam of light cut across the trees behind her. He knew she was gone. She ran blindly, branches tearing her skin, lungs burning with cold air. A fence appeared through the mist. She didn't think, just climbed. She stumbled onto a road and screamed when headlights appeared. A sheriff's cruiser pulled up. The door creaked open and relief hit her like a wave. She sobbed uncontrollably as she told the deputy everything about the gas station, the cage, the man. But the deputy's eyes in the rear view weren't sympathetic. They were assessing. The road they were on didn't lead back to town. It led deeper into the woods. The radio on the dash was dead. She reached for the door, but it was locked. He smiled, and something white poked from his shirt pocket. A Polaroid. Her scream was silent behind the glass as the cruiser turned down a dirt path toward the shack she'd just escaped.